He has one ability I don't have.
Yeah.
He sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce, they weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it. But he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things, and in minutes, he's stone cold out.
How does he do it?
And he's got cameras because he's the president, so they have cameras on him.
Yeah.
And then they show him sleeping on the beach.
Yeah.
You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
How do we...
Well, Andrew Schultz chortling there. He's now seen the errors in his way. Gee,
yes,
thanks.
Express some regret.
And
looks really tired.
But and it goes also to, like, again, all you ever heard, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, are the Biden crime family, the Biden crime, because Hunter made $50 off of NFTs or $2,000 or maybe from Barista or whatever it was called, maybe he made, $3 million fee, maybe he made $2 million. We're now talking about the Trump family at least clearing $3-4 billion. And so, people say, well, it's legal. Well, we don't know if it's legal or not. We don't know what quid pro quos were there and what weren't. And so, again, our point's not going to Donald Trump sleeping in the White House. Our point's not going to the billions of dollars. Well, it's going to the sheer hypocrisy of followers who literally went on saying, Sleepy Joe, we've got somebody even sleepier in the White House now, the Biden crime family, where we're talking about maybe a couple $1 million versus $4 billion, $5 billion maybe. And then thanks, Biden, for gas prices at, we showed clips of Republicans freaking out over gas prices at $3, $3.25, $3.50, and we're at $4.50 now. So again, these things happen. We're at a war. But the hypocrisy of Trump followers, the hypocrisy of people who are speaking on his behalf, it's just, are they stupid? It's like there is video. We see what you said last year and the year before. We see what you said about Iran. We see what members of Donald Trump's family said about Donald Trump will never go to Iran, Kamala Harris. We see what J.D. Vance said. Donald Trump will never go to Iran. That's the difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. She'll get us in a war with Iran. The hypocrisy is endless. It comes so fast that people don't stop and just show how ridiculous they were a year ago, how they were either lying or they're just hypocrites.
Yeah, I think it's not that they're stupid. I think it's that they're shameless. I think that's the superpower from President Trump and so much of his inner circle. And you add to the list the things that they accuse President Biden of doing, that they are now doing exponentially more so. The use of the presidential pardon, another one. The number of times where they would criticize the previous administration for things, and then they would do it on steroids. Yeah. And we're seeing that time and again. And
by the way, and their followers, again, just blindly, like in a cult, their followers just going along, going, oh, well, it's different. Yeah, it is different. It's exponentially worse now. You're talking about $4 billion maybe dollars versus,
the Trump. There have been reports that the Trump family, the sons, have openly discussed wanting to be the richest family in the world by the time that the Trump administration was over, and that they have been so used to receiving friendly media coverage from certain conservative outlets that they won't be shown. Their followers, their supporters won't see these images, or they're able to simply assert their own reality and say, if I don't believe it, and they're used to that cult-like following, a cult that would perhaps build a giant golden statue of its leader on a golf course.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to bring in right now Jim Vandehei. Jim, you talk about the misinformation that they wallow in. Meek and I were at a dinner party recently, and we had somebody going
lovely
group of people, but had somebody going on and on about those damn Democrats and COVID, and going on and on attacking somebody at the table who was a scientist. You scientist this, why COVID, the results were the same for states that remained open the whole time and states that had restrictive COVID guidelines. Well, that's just an absolute total lie. If you look and see 14 of the top 15 states, if you're looking at deaths per capita, from just about every measurement, 14 of the 15 states that had the highest deaths per capita were states that voted for Donald Trump, that were far more relaxed. And, you know, the one exception was New Mexico. And so, again, it's like there's, like Jonathan Lemire said, there's just an absolute shamelessness, whether you're talking about Sleepy Joe or gas prices or the Biden crime family. I mean, it just goes on and on.
I mean, the incentives in politics to stand by your man are intense. And then you have that amplified by all these information bubbles that you said will filter out the bad stuff, filter in the good, the positive stuff. But there's two things that are true at once. Coming off of that Indiana, those state-based races last week, where the president intervened and knocked off some very conservative Republicans, his hold on the party is as tight and as mesmerizing as it's ever been. And so he is probably still at peak Trump power with his specific party. However, at the same time, there's this fascinating graphic that The Economist is running that breaks down his approval rating by every single state. There's only 3 states in the country, I believe, where he's not underwater, where a majority of people, including in places like Texas and Florida, have an unfavorable opinion of him. Well, that comes from Democrats, obviously, having an unfavorable opinion. His numbers with independents are just terrible. They're horrendous across the board. And then little by little, not many, but you start to see some Republican chipping away. Not much, and I wouldn't expect that much decline because you live in a 50-50 country. People pick a team. They want to stand by their team till the end. But those things really add up. And like whether the president's sleeping or not is probably the least of his problems right now.
Right.
He's got 2 big problems he's staring at this week. What the hell is he going to do in Iran, where it feels like he really is boxed in? And then he has to go to China, and he's bringing our business leaders there. And God forbid if he goes there and we look weak. And the Chinese smell weakness. And when they smell weakness, they know how to exploit weakness. If he comes out of this week and we're still dealing with Iran, which we will be, and if it looks like the China trip was not successful or we're not treated like a dominant superpower, whenever you start to get that as a president, it happens slowly. It doesn't happen overnight. But when you start to get that whiff of weakness, people start to sense that. People here and people overseas. And I think that's the danger. He's not maybe completely there yet, but I think they're very well aware that that's out there, that that's in the ether. And once you get that, that makes it really hard to govern and to project strength that you need in situations like trying to figure out a way out of what's happening in Iran.